like or the dislike and hit the subscribe button. Alright gang, right here I'll be using my kukri, and altogether I believe I only use my kukri and my silky gomboy saw. So those are the two tools I will use to make this bow drill set. The bow drill set consists of the drill spindle, the upright part that drills down into your baseboard, and your baseboard or hearth board, whatever you would like to call it, which is what I'm cutting right here. I'm going to cut a log a little over a foot long, and I will show you from there. In addition to your upright spindle and your hearth board, I will also be showing you or illustrating how to make the bow itself. You'll need a piece of cordage to make your bow, and you could use a shoestring in an emergency or improvise somehow or other. And the only thing I'm not making here is my bearing block, because I already have one that I carry around with my other kit that I've made. So, and it's made of fat wood. That's why I wanted to, because I always use it. And the reasoning is, whenever you use it, the resin in the fat wood, as it heats up, as that spindle spins, it lubricates it and lets it spin a little bit smoother. Alright gang, there's already an existing crack here, so it's going to want to split on that crack. That crack goes, let's see, can you see it? Right to here. So what I want to do is kind of turn it and try to make a straight line. And I'll be taking that off. But first I'm going to make a cut with my saw. I'm going to do that. Like I said, I'm going to orient that to where it's about level, and then I'm going to make a cut here. That end. There. And let's see. Straight right here. Might have to take it back a little bit. Okay, the idea there was to make a saw cut to a depth and then baton down into that saw cut and just pop that off. But what happens is my saw cut was a little too shallow, and my kukri gets batoned in and it starts to split out too fast. So I stop and use my saw the rest of the way through. See, it's already wanting to split on that crack. I got my kukri in there a little bit, which was not intentional, but I'm going to saw the rest of the way down. And what I'm going to do here is just baton the kukri down through the back portion all the way to the bottom and make a straight flat piece on the back. When I grab that little piece of wood and put it where I put it, that's just so when I baton through, my kukri blade doesn't slam into the dirt and rocks. Now we're left with this. Flat on the bottom. We've got this hump on the top is for the arch of our foot. So we have something to stand on when we're going to utilize the bow and drill method. And here I'm getting our keyhole notch started on the baseboard or the hearth board. And here I found a piece with a relatively longer, straighter piece with a curve. And I'm going to cut 2 notches in it to tie the string to, and that will be our bow. And right here, I'm trying to find a small straight section to make our upright spindle. What I'm doing here is just getting a pilot hole started. I'm just getting a few rotations on that spindle down into that notch to get it started and smoothed out. And then I'm going to cut a keyhole into it is what It's called, that's the terminology we would use. The keyhole gets cut into it, and that's so when your spindle is spinning and cutting real fine powder and using the friction to ignite that fine powder, it'll fall down through that keyhole onto whatever you've laid there to collect it on, and that will make your ember. So here I wanted to give you a closer look that keyhole should be cut up almost into the center of where your round spindle has spun that divot down into. You can cut it straight up to the center if you want. It won't hurt anything. Here is me just making a bird's nest of tinder out of some dried grass, and I'll use some char cloth and some jute twine that I have frayed out into a bird's nest of its own. This is my bearing block, and what I'm doing is taking my saw and laying it at a really steep angle, very steep, just to shave off a real thin layer of the fat wood shavings that my bearing block is made out of. Because as you may know from my other videos, fat wood it is very ignitable, and it likes to burn once it's ignited because of the resins inside of the wood. So I'm cutting that and just getting real fine shavings, and I'm going to dump those into the bird's nest. Here I'm adding the char cloth and the jute twine, just because the jute twine also ignites very easily, the char cloth catches a spark very easily, and then the fat wood dust also burns and does all the same things. So I'm trying to really stack the odds in our favor here. So the blade on my kukri is pretty broad and wide from the edge up to the spine. So I'm going to lay it there like a plate, and then I'm going to put bark on top of it. So that is a nice dry area for all my shavings and dust that's going to result from this bow drill technique is going to be caught on a dry surface. Most of the times when your bow drill technique fails, it is because your either your baseboard, your hearthboard, your spindle, or the dust and ember itself is soaking up moisture from your surroundings. And if you notice right there, my tinder bundle and everything is also elevated and laying on top of dry wood. Here, gang, there's a problem that I do catch in time, but my tinder bundle, my bird's nest and stuff is too close to where I'm about to start the bow drill technique, because you need a lot of room to work that bow back and forth, and as you're about to see, the spindle will fly out and could hit your bird's nest and knock all the shit you just prepared everywhere. I twist this spindle into the bowstring. That is going to pull the ends of the bow down, create tension, and that's going to hold everything under attention. And as you'll see, that is why the spindle will go flying out. As you see there, it just it bumped my tender bundle. It could have been a disaster. And it only takes me 2 times of almost knocking my tender bundle everywhere to move my tender bundle. Here we got smoke rising off the hearth board, which is a great sign and a good indicator that we have a good ember going. And then the bowstring flings my spindle out, but I got an ember. Right now is also a very sensitive transitional spot, because you want to transfer the ember that I have there on that bark that was laying on top of my kukri into that bird's nest without busting it apart and knocking it everywhere. It does bust in half as I'm transferring it, but both halves are burning, so it works out in my favor. Here what I'm doing is blowing very gently into that bird's nest. And sometimes I don't even blow into it. I'll just kind of wave it around with my hands open like this, so air will go through that opening in my hands, and that will get the airflow moving a little bit in a gentle manner, because you don't want to be very rough with it at that point until you actually see it start to glow orange. All right, gang. That was how to make your bow drill set. I hope I illustrated it relatively well. Yeah, it can be frustrating. I tried to leave in a few of the fuck ups where it's all under tension. So whenever you kind of let up on one side or the other of your bearing block or whatever, that bowstring will kind of try to fling your drill out. You know, it's twisted around in that string, so it'll just fling it somewhere. It'll fling it into your bird's nest of tinder and shit. That's why I moved it out of the way. So there's a lot that can go wrong, and I tried to leave in a few of the instances. There was more. I cut some of them out to save on time. But with that said, gang, I hope you enjoy it, and I'll leave you like I always do with a rip and a sip. Till next time, gang. Peace out.